Hey guys, again, Jordan Cornette, Dallin Cuff, just a few minutes away from tip-off between VCU and Utah State. VCU thought they were playing in Knoxville in 2 games on Monday morning. By Monday night, they found out they were going to South Dakota to start a tournament there. They're playing with Utah State. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, I love that they just roll the balls out there and say, hey, who we got? Let's just go play. That's how Hoopers are. Utah State is my focus here. I focus on the Aggies. I focus on their 7-foot big man, Namias Keita. Rookie of the year 2 seasons ago, freshman of the year in the Mountain West, hampered with knee injury in his sophomore campaign. Otherwise, he'd probably be in the NBA. He's that kind of talent. They don't have Sam Merrill to play through him. That 1-2 punch is no longer. Sam's in the NBA. Keita's going to have to be the guy for this team. Brock Miller, maybe he can provide some shots knocked down to allow a guy like Keita to operate more freely in one-on-one basketball. But he's a star.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to replace Sam Merrill. It's going to be done by committee, but Craig Smith's a great coach, and they'll try to figure that out.
54-15 in his 2 years.
For
he can
sure.
coach. Out-coach.
VCU, though. I mean, the COVID issues to Tennessee knocks them out of that event. They roll the balls out, to your point. This is a very young team. So I'm excited to see Mike Rhodes take his boys to a new venue here and just what they have. And I think they're going to bring fight and toughness and scratch and claw. But young team, I'm excited to see what they got. I know you're excited.
9 faces with Utah State. Let's go.
Out to South Dakota. We'll see you guys at the half.
It's the 4th quarterfinal of the Crossover Classic as part of Feast Week here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We have a terrific matchup between the VCU Rams out of the Atlantic 10 Conference and from the Mountain West, the Aggies of Utah State. West Virginia moments ago punched its ticket onto the semifinal round of the Crossover Classic by beating South Dakota State, and so the 15th ranked Mountaineers will play in the semis tomorrow afternoon, and they will get the winner of our game here tonight between VCU and Utah State. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. So glad you could be with us on this opening day and opening night of college basketball. And for the VCU Rams, who just 3 days ago didn't know they were going to be here in South Dakota, they are here and they are ready to try and win 3 games.
With almost a new roster. A pretty disappointing year last year for them. They have turned that roster over. You see all the new faces they're going to have. The last couple of years, they've had athletes, Doug. They have basketball players now. Mike Rhodes feels very good about the roster he has here in Sioux Falls.
The Rams coming off an 18-13 year. Meanwhile, Utah State coming off a 26-win season led by that man, Namias Keita.
He is a monster. 7-footer. A monster defensively at the rim. Outstanding rebounder. Finally healthy. Has dealt with some injuries. Knee injury last season. He is healthy and ready to go and going to be a force on the interior.
Well, as Coach Craig Smith told us yesterday that for Keita, his fluidity and sliding is 10 times better. 10 times. He misses the layup to start things for the Aggies. Well, here's a look at tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Sanford Health. That's Ace Baldwin and Bones Highland. They go by nicknames. Keyshawn Curry, Corey Douglas, and the Kansas State transfer, Levi Stockard III. Ball goes out of bounds and will stay with the Rams. There's a look at a freshman getting his feet wet as a college basketball player. We were impressed watching practice yesterday in Raleigh Wooster. We'll talk much more about him throughout the ball game, but there are very high expectations in Logan, Utah for this young man. Triple puts the Rams on the board first. It's Bones Highland.
He was scorching from 3 last year, especially in A10 play. 46% from 3 in conference. And he keeps that trend going here in game 1 of the 2020 season.
Young man from Wilmington, Delaware has the Rams off to the early lead. Open look, Justin Bean, no. And here comes Adrian Ace Baldwin Jr. from Baltimore, Maryland, who Mike Rhodes is very high on as this program's point guard of the future. Baldwin turns the corner. Little strong. There's the rebound by Justin Bean. A year ago averaged a double-double. 12 points, 10.5 rebounds a night. Errant pass comes through to Brock Miller, who saves it for Utah State. Bean, fouled by Douglas. Mike Rhodes is in his 4th year as the head coach at VCU, and he was a superstar Division III basketball player at Lebanon Valley College in Pennsylvania, and I'm not overstating it. He won a national championship as a junior, and then as a senior was the Division III National Player of the Year. Superstar.
Superstar. I thought maybe he had told you to say that. No, look, and he's also, he has climbed every rank in terms of coaching as well, which I respect. And, you know, he was the guy when there was a vacancy at VCU, he was the guy to come back. He was, of course, an assistant for Shaka Smart at VCU, the guy to come back. And look, last year they were 7-3. I actually called one of their games early in the year, Doug. They beat LSU in Richmond. They were 7-3 in Atlantic 10 play on February 12th, and then just fell apart. And it started with Marcus Evans, their star guard, getting hurt. Vince Williams, Corey Douglas got hurt, and of course they finished the season 8-10 in A10 play.
And with all the turnover and the way last year finished, they are only picked to finish 9th this year in a very tough Atlantic 10. Wooster with his first 2 college points, freshman from Missoula, Montana. He's got the defensive assignment on Baldwin. Highland. There's that stroke you're talking about.
You better find that man. He is their guy this year. Score the basketball, late game, late clock. Took such a leap last year at the end of that season.
And Coach Rhodes also says he's an emerging leader for this young team. The head coach for Utah State is Craig Smith in his 3rd year. And while he is a native of Stephen, Minnesota, he has so many roots in the Dakotas that this is a true homecoming for him. He graduated from the University of North Dakota in 1996, and most recently, before taking the Utah State job, he was the head coach at South Dakota. And so his plans before they disallowed having fans in the building was to pretty much have a reunion here this week. But he is a fun guy to talk to, grins from ear to ear, and has stories for days. Nice looking stroke by Keyshawn Curry.
Well, this was a team last year. VCU did not shoot it well. Already 3 threes to start this game.
Keita draws a crowd as usual, and this time able to rise up and finish. Curry. Well, the Rams have the range tonight. Highland and Curry both have a pair of 3-pointers, and we're not even 4 minutes in. Wooster. They say he is mature beyond his years, and he looks like it.
Well, they also say not to go all Uncle Rico, but he can throw a football evidently 65 yards in the air.
Yeah, some pretty good football programs wanted him. Montana, Montana State, Boise State even kicked the tires, but it was clear in his recruitment that he was wanting to play basketball. Contact, foul against Stockard. Will send the new point guard for the Aggies to the free throw line, Marco Anthony. The Virginia transfer when we come back. VCU with a hot hand early here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Spatola, I'm Doug Sherman. The VCU Rams off to the early lead over Utah State. The winner of this will get West Virginia in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon. Early impressions, Chris. I know it's only 4 minutes and 15 seconds in, but first thoughts from what you've seen of this retooled Rams club.
Well, 4 threes is not what I expected.
Right.
Again, they shot 33% from 3 last year. Mike Rhodes, when he was talking about his roster turning over, he said they really haven't shot it well since he's been the head coach at VCU, and they've recruited to that, particularly with this class. And he said, we had athletes. The way they play, we've had athletes the last couple years, but we have basketball players. And again, have recruited to that.
Hassan Ward has come into the game. Tried to find him on the pass, but it was taken away by the Aggies. Here's Marco Anthony, who just made 1 out of 2 from the free throw line. Stephen Ashworth is teched into the game, as has that man, Sean Bairstow. And the sophomore from Brisbane, Australia, has his first 2. Curry loses it. Aggies on the run. Anthony using that size to get to the bucket.
And he is a big new face for this Utah State team. Of course, transferring from Virginia, like you said, won a national championship with them. Hasn't played a lot of basketball, live basketball. He didn't play much at Virginia, sat out last season. But they expect Anthony to be a big piece for them this year at that point guard position.
Jimmy Clark with the layup for VCU. Their first 2-point bucket of the night. Shot clock down to 13. Also Trevin Dorius, a 7-footer into the game for the Aggies. Anthony has it knocked away, gets it back, puts it up, and can't get the roll. Ashworth the pull-up. Little rainbow jumper for the freshman from Alpine, Utah.
You know, we've talked about VCU's roster turnover. Same thing with Utah State. You know, they kind of know what they have with that first 5, but, you know, in terms of depth, it's going to be throwing a lot of things at the wall, seeing what sticks. They lost half of their scoring in Sam Merrill, Abel Porter, and Diego Brito.
Anthony now with 5. Yeah, 9 new guys, including 7 true freshmen. So as much as any team in the country, Craig Smith is trying to figure it out on the fly, and these 3 games here in South Dakota over the next 3 nights will tell them a lot. And it really can be an audition, especially for the young guys. Highland, catch and shoot, nothing but net.
He is. Tell you what, I mean, he became their most reliable scorer by the end of last season. Guy they recruited for 2 years.
There he is, hustling after his own miss. Try it again from outside. My goodness. 12 early points for Nashawn Bones Highland out of St. George's Tech in Delaware. Bairstow blocked. Curry pulls the trigger. Dorius shares the basketball and gets an assist on the dunk by Justin Bean. Justin Bean is quite a story, out of Southmore High School in Moore, Oklahoma. He was a walk-on, and now he's turned himself into a double-double machine. 12 points, 10 rebounds a game. Nice finish on the reverse by Clark.
Oh, and Bean is a nice compliment when Keita's in there, because he's got a high IQ and he's a relentless rebounder. I mean, just he's obviously strong and physically built, but he is just a relentless motor rebounder.
Bairstow now with 5. Highland tries to take it away. Ashworth gets it back. Anthony traveled. And that'll take us to our under 12 timeout. Fast start for both sides. Tied at 22 in this quarterfinal round in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. 22 apiece, VCU and Utah State. And Chris Patola, we were talking before the break about Justin Bean, and he suffered a torn ACL before his senior year in high school growing up in Oklahoma. Didn't have a scholarship offer, served a 2-year LDS church mission in Reno, walked on at Utah State, and look what he did last year with all the double-doubles.
Yeah, he's very comfortable knowing what he is capable of doing and knowing what his game is. He hits a 3 there. He only made 8 threes last year. It's not really what he does, but as you've said, he's a double-double machine. A relentless rebounder, has really good instincts because he's not a great athlete. He's almost a below-the-rim rebounder, but he uses his body. He's not afraid of contact and never stops.
Yeah, last year, Justin Bean became the first Aggie since Mike Santos 44 years ago, back in 76-77, to average a double-double for the year. And his coaching staff, Craig Smith told us yesterday, he doesn't rest on his laurels. I mean, he has worked in the offseason hard this year on his ball handling, his decision-making, his shooting. Says he's a gym rat, not only in the basketball or on the basketball floor, but also in the weight room and in conditioning. He is all in at all times. Josh Banks, a freshman from Charlotte, into the game for the first time for VCU. This is him with a basketball, wearing 33. Vince Williams Jr. with it out front. Ace Baldwin, the freshman point guard, back in there for the Rams. And a foul off the ball underneath. Wooster, giving up some size, trying to defend Vince Williams, is called for the personal. Jameer Watkins, another one of the VCU freshmen, has come in, 6'7", out of Trenton Catholic in New Jersey. Williams left it well short, able to track down his miss. Good ball movement to find the open man in the corner. And Jameer Watkins pays it off.
And it started with the skip pass. What a great find cross court, and then the extra by Baldwin, the freshman, with the presence of mind to hit the freshman in the corner, freshman to freshman.
VCU is 7 out of 12 already tonight from distance. Keita, Wooster. Keita gets it back. Good fight inside for the basketball, and it comes away to the Rams. Watkins dribbles up himself. Baldwin.
Yeah.
Got a step on his defender, Max Shoga, and he couldn't stop him. 27-22 VCU. Well, it may not be havoc, but you kind of get that sense. And as you mentioned, Chris, Mike Rhodes was on staff for 5 years under Shaka Smart and was there when they went to the Final Four 9 years ago.
Yeah. Well, he is a VCU guy, there's no doubt about it, coming from Rice. And he's kept, you know, the thing with them is they're going to pick you up, but they're also going to be a very good half-court defensive team. That's the intent. You know, with Shaka, they wanted havoc, and they weren't necessarily at time. They'd give up layups down back, and they weren't a great half-court defensive team if, you know, the offense broke the press and settled in.
Rebound pulled down by Brendan Medley-Bacon, 7'1" junior, transfer from Coppin State, who's been working hard since he got into the game, battling with Keita. A couple of 7-footers going at it. There you see Medley-Bacon out of Archbishop Curley High School in Baltimore. He had a really good year last year with Coppin State for Juan Dixon, 3rd-team all-conference, 7.5 points, 9 rebounds. And where he really makes his hay is at the defensive end. He blocks over 2 shots per game. Keita finds the man in the corner for 3. Miller, though, a little too strong. Alfonso Anderson going to work. Wooster steps around the defender and lays it in.
He is really skilled. Really, really skilled. Just a basketball player.
And 2-time Montana Gatorade State Player of the Year in basketball. Travel.
Couple freshman guards going at it. Ace Baldwin for VCU. And Raleigh Wooster for Utah State. Off to a good start. Nice little step through there. Little kiss off the glass.
We're back in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where this 8-team field in the Crossover Classic seems like everybody's got connections to the Dakotas, and Utah State certainly has as many as anybody. Their assistant coach, Austin Hansen from Valley Springs, South Dakota. He was Mr. Basketball in the state back in 1998 when he beat out Mike Miller for that honor. And so he's on the bench for Utah State. And then one of the officials we've got in this final game, that man is Kelly Pfeiffer from Mitchell, South Dakota, about 45 minutes west of here. And he climbed through the high school ranks officiating games in this area and across the state and across the Dakotas. So he has now climbed to the highest level of college basketball and getting opportunity to work back here. Keita with a chance for three.
Sometimes a guy is just too big. And the good thing here, he catches it and keeps it high. He gets swarmed, but he keeps the ball high and then pivots through, steps through, and gets it back up to the basket. And what a journey it's been. I mean, he declared for the draft in 2018, pulled his name out. He hurt his knee when he was playing in an international tournament in Portugal. And as you know, as we said at the top, it's just started to get healthy, Doug. He obviously is physically imposing, and he started to become, I think, we know he can be a stopper defensively. He started to become more comfortable in his skin offensively, as that last play down there would tell you.
And he was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year 2 years ago, the Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, set a program record for block shots as a freshman, but as you said, that knee injury really slowed him down early last year, missed a bunch of games, and we, I think, are seeing a truer version of who he is now that he's fully healthy. Neemias Keita, and he is fouled by Brendan Medley-Bacon. Well, among the things he's been working on is trying to finish around the lane with both his hands. Coaches say he's making progress. And to me, Chris, he looks like he's still got room to grow physically.
Yeah.
You know, put another 10, 15, 20 pounds on him, and that would be okay.
You said it. He's going to have to get stronger. He's still, you know, working to get better with the basketball. But, you know, look, there's a lot you can't teach. I mean, you can't teach 7 feet tall. He's got wingspan for days.
And he gets his own miss, finds the open man in Miller, and he buries the three.
And how about the pass from Keita? The presence of mind and a good job by Miller calling for it so that the big man didn't make a wrong decision.
On one possession, Keita gets a point, a rebound, and an assist. Blocking foul.
And unlike my partner, Doug Sherman, who's into the individual stats, his team got 3 here, Doug. All right? The presence of, and that's big there. You know, you talk about Miller calling for it. So many times, guys are open, they don't get the ball, and they start complaining to the guy who didn't throw it to him. And, you know, a lot of the time, I didn't know you were there. Sometimes you got to scream and yell to a guy, hey, Neemias, or whatever they call him. Keita, I'm here, throw it to me.
So as a 2-time scoring champion in the Patriot League, do you think that was what your teammates were feeling playing with you?
What are you saying? I was the guy complaining.
Give me the ball, I'm open. There's a rebound from the seat of his pants. Foul called. I think it could have been called on Mikel Brown-Jones, but I think they got Highland on the reach-in.
And it was foolish. He didn't need to do it. I mean, Keita was working his way to the basket, but you'd rather him sit there and handle and back down.
Well, great basketball going on all around the country on this opening day and night of the college basketball season. Arizona State survived a test with Rhode Island. Batts Russell fouled out with about 5 minutes to go for the Rams, who couldn't pull off the upset. We've had some great games already here today. Memphis in the opening game for Penny Hardaway looked very much like a top 25 team. And West Virginia pushed by South Dakota State, also able to advance, as did the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky, who took down UNI.
You know, Boogie Ellis for Memphis is a great example of a guy who got to Memphis, thought he was a one and done, was surrounded by the #2 pick in the draft, and then Precious Achiuwa, so 2 lottery picks. They end up going after 1 season. Ellis doesn't have, you know, nearly the season he was hoping for. Stays at Memphis, and he comes out in game 1 and was lights out. You know, like, that's... Sometimes you mature exponentially, and guys make a wrong decision after a freshman year. And instead, Boogie Ellis, he was, you know, look, he was probably forced, given his numbers and whatnot from last season. And it's only 1 game so far, but it bodes well for a guy who made the right decision to come back, and look at how much he is better from 1 year to the next.
No doubt. I mean, he was great. He was sensational today. Off the steal, Highland. His free throws, by the way, a moment ago, snapped a 9-0 Utah State run. Rams trying to creep back in. Within 1, chance to take the lead. We've got a foul on the drive. Well, we talk about Boogie, we show you Boogie. Boogie Ellis came off the bench and was marvelous today for Memphis.
Well, the one change we got to make is we got to get him in the starting lineup. But yeah, I mean, he shot it well. He was poised, and they were good shots. Even when he was feeling it, they were good shots, tough shots. He hit a half-court shot, or a little over half-court going into halftime right at the buzzer. I mean, he was feeling it.
Bairstow, Anthony, Keita, Miller, and Bean, the 5 on the floor for Utah State in the white. Out of the Mountain West Conference. Turnover again. Clark lays it in. Jimmy Clark III out of Covington, Georgia, puts VCU back in front.
Those are killer, and those are VCU turnovers. A bucket on the other end.
Illegal screen. Keita on the handoff. Did not establish himself. And so he...
You know, that's where with VCU, once you break their pressure, you almost have to take a deep breath and then get in a new frame of mind. Set up your offense and run your stuff. What they do, it's not just speeding you up physically. VCU speeds up your mind. And you have to have a way of transitioning from breaking the press to then now we're going to run half-court offense.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you were at Army, was there one team you remember facing that they just sped you up out of your comfort zone and you never recovered?
Navy did that.
Wow.
I hate to say it. I hate to give the Naval Academy credit when it is due. But they did that. You know, Don DeVoe was their head coach when I played there. Don DeVoe, a legend. He's been all over the place. And, you know, they didn't pressure as much, although they would, but they just played, you know, DeVoe of that Bob Knight man-to-man defense, and they pressure you, and they were physical. They get after you. And you just had to take a deep breath. And to be honest, you got better with it as you got older and more comfortable playing against it.
But it was as much a mental exercise for you as physical.
More so mental, absolutely.
So perhaps that's a taste of what Utah State has to deal with here tonight with VCU. Nice spinning move by Williams. Ashworth back into the game. Bean faces up. Now backing into the lane. Nice little touch in the paint.
And you love how he caught it. So often a possession is going to be good. You're going to score when you catch it with a good base and you take your time. Really good fundamental basketball there by Justin Bean.
Highland going to work on Anderson. Now cut off, but able to find his teammate Douglas for the easy two.
A great shot fake.
Ashworth denied. At the rim, Corey Douglas Jr. 36-33 as we head to break. Thanks, guys. And the big question is, will Keita become the all-time block shot leader at Utah State as Jordan Cornette is at Notre Dame?
Well, I think the answer to the question is yes. Will he? I think he'll do it in a different way than Jordan Cornette did.
Explain that.
Jordan Cornette, it's actually a compliment to Jordan, which we don't throw around often to Jordan Cornette. But Jordan Cornette not blessed quite with the physical gifts that Neemias Queta is. Jordan Cornette having to do it with his sheer will.
Bairstow, no. Curry the rebound, and here come the Rams. Aggies get back defensively. Under 3 minutes remaining. Here's Bones Highland back to Williams. Highland had the hot hand early. He's got 15 points to lead all scores, the only double-digit scorer so far. He is deadly from long range. A rare miss for him. And a rebounding foul against VCU. Corey Douglas Jr., a redshirt senior from Louisville out of Ballard High School. And he's really the team leader for this young bunch.
Well, he, again, one of those injuries that really hurt the end of their season. Had foot surgery. It ended his season last year. He actually started 8 games at Rice for Mike Rhodes. So not only is he the leader here, but he's been with Mike Rhodes going back to Rice. We saw the shot block going to the last break. I mean, that's what he does best. He's an outstanding shot blocker, and he's moving like he was 2 years ago, finally healthy.
He took a medical red shirt at Rice thanks to a hip injury as well. So it's been a long 5 years health-wise for him. We can only hope he can make it through this season, playing as freely as he is right now. Contested shot missed by Baldwin. Bean, tough shot, able to get the roll. Tied at 36. Shot clock down to 7. Baldwin drives down the right side of the lane and lost it. Turn it back over to the Aggies. Friday, settle in with a plate of leftovers for our college football triple header. Iowa and Texas kick things off at noon Eastern on ABC. And then Notre Dame will square off against North Carolina. And at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN, the rivalry game between Oregon and Oregon State. Bairstow, no. Keita misses on the follow, but Curry's going to pick up the foul. Now, the way the game started, Chris, it looked like VCU might never miss a shot from the perimeter. They started the game 7 of 15, but since that time, they have missed 6 out of 7. And I'd say Utah State has done a much better job of identifying Bones Highland. Couldn't do a worse job than they did at the start. I mean, Highland had 4 wide open, clean looks that he hit.
Yeah.
Two free throws for Keita, the junior from Portugal. Puts the Aggies back up by 2.
Well, and as long as Utah State doesn't turn it over, they've started to get some consistently good looks in the half court. And VCU trying to figure out, where they're going to get offense from without Highland scoring.
Holding foul against Mikel Brown-Jones. As we talked about, VCU is playing with 8 freshmen. Now, all of them got to campus early in June, and despite the pandemic, they were able to get their work in, or at least as close to their work as they could under the conditions. But for Coach Rhodes, coming into the year, Bones Highland really is the only known commodity.
Only known commodity. Certainly from a scoring standpoint. And it looks like he might be getting a technical here, he and Keita.
Indeed, that's what it is. They both get technicals and both pick up their second personal fouls.
It's a little scrapping after the play there. Little extracurricular.
Let's see if we can find what the officials saw. Number 5 in gold and Keita, number 23 in white.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Keita gets a technical there.
Huh.
And frankly, I don't know what was said. The official calls a tech there after contact had been made. I don't understand why Keita gets one there.
Back in the 80s when you were playing for Army, that wouldn't have been a technical.
Well, you keep taking 10 years off of when I graduated. I mean, what are we doing here?
Back in the 60s when you and Coach K were together in the backcourt.
Was it my singing Huey Lewis in the news during the commercial break?
I could just tell you that the heart of rock and roll is no longer beating here in Sioux Falls, thanks to your singing.
I mean, I don't get that. That would frustrate me if I'm Keita. I mean, look at this. Like, Highland, who, he just kind of walks up there and there's contact made, and I don't understand why that's a double technical. To me, that's a cop-out if from the official.
Well, it was not initially called a double technical. The official came in and said, cut it out. And then the double technical came, so maybe he said the magic word.
Yeah, maybe.
But based on his physical actions, I wouldn't think so. So now the officials have reviewed the video that we have and are delivering their messages to the respective benches. And so Kelly Pfeiffer from nearby Mitchell, South Dakota, comes over to share with us what their determination is on that double technical foul called against Bones Highland and Neemias Keita. First free throw good for Mikel Brown-Jones, a freshman from Philadelphia who played the last couple of years at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. One of the 8 freshmen on this VCU roster. Good stroke from the line. Miller pulls up from 14 and hits.
That's good offense. That's good press offense. You break it to score, you get a nice little 15-foot shot.
10 to shoot, 36 seconds remaining in the half. Curry. Ashworth flies in, listed at 6'1", gets the rebound, and now he will hold for what could be a final shot of the half. They give it to Bean, poked away. 3 to shoot, and the foul called with 3.7 seconds remaining in the half. And so 2 free throws upcoming for Justin Bean. 3rd team All Mountain West Conference a year ago. Made the conference's all defensive team. And he's really the people's choice at the Spectrum, at the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum. And his coaches say he embodies what Utah State wants its basketball program to be.
He would embody what a lot of programs would want their programs to be.
At the buzzer, well, VCU came out shooting the lights out, but they head into the locker room trailing by 3 to Utah State. 20 minutes remaining on this opening night here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Here's a look at Phillips Avenue in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota. All decked out for the wintertime, for the holidays. We are just hours away from Thanksgiving. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman, and so happy that you're sharing some of your holiday with us on this opening day and opening night of the college basketball season. VCU came out flying, Chris, knocking down pretty much every shot, but Utah State withstood the charge and fought back very nicely.
Well, sometimes hitting threes early can be intoxicating. 16 of VCU's 27 shots have been threes. They made 7 of them. The problem is the back end of that half, I thought Utah State really got the ball into the paint. They're outscoring VCU 22-10, and VCU, when they stop making threes, really bogged down offensively. VCU's got to figure out a way to get that ball to the basket via penetration to try to get a little more consistency with their offense. But competitive half, we expect the same here in the second.
Well, VCU was all about Bones Highland. He has 15 points to lead all scorers, but the next highest score was Curry with 6. On the other side, the Aggies have had tremendous balance. 9 for Bean, 8 for Cada, 6 for Worcester, 6 for Bairstow, and on and on. First 2 points go to VCU here in the second half.
And there it is, a good set play out of the half to get the ball into the paint, to the basket. Nice pass and a good finish by Stockard.
Utah State turns it over. Stockard blocked by Cada. Stockard did not play a lot in that first half, only 4 minutes because of 2 fouls. Bean keeps it alive. Cada comes away with it, gathers, and lays it in.
Well, he makes one play on one end, the scoop block, and then it comes down on the other end and gives you a bucket.
Bean called for the foul. That will send Corey Douglas Jr. to the line.
And here's the block. It's always more stinging for the offensive player when the shot blocker just cups it. Nicely done there. Then here on the other end, he ends up with the basketball in the right place. And you'd love to see them go up and just pound that thing through, put his chin on the rim. But nonetheless, you get 2 points.
Well, his coach told us yesterday that he has worked hard and continues to work to try to be able to finish with both hands, both his left hand and his right hand. Craig Smith is happy with his development. Couple of free throws by Douglas, 43-42. Rams back within a point. Miller with a similar look to his last one. That was a 2-point shot. Same result, though. It's the Rams coming the other way. Stockard loses his balance, and he's called for traveling.
Just trying to do too much. You know, I think he still has that block shot in his mind.
And I would too.
Well, no question about it, but you're not going to get it back, you know, in a hurry. And I think he just kind of got sped up there. And you get to a point where you look up, and there's Keita standing in front of you.
Well, he was a solid, productive player for 3 years at Kansas State with Stockard, but he just wanted a bigger role. You know, he had almost no starts for Coach Weber, and he gets a chance to start at least early in the season for Mike Rhodes.
And a block shot, and there's another extraordinary shot blocker in Corey Douglas. You know, you talk about Stockard. He's been through a lot of battles. I mean, that you do know that. He's played in an NCAA tournament with Kansas State. He's been coached by Bruce Weber. How about that finish by Keita? So I think that's what Mike Rhodes values, especially with a team that has a lot of freshmen, a lot of youth. It's good to have that veteran in Stockard who's seen a lot of basketball.
Yeah, he is a steady, reliable presence for a young team and sets a fabulous example. Keita facing up. Curry off the hesitation, able to get into the lane and draw the foul.
Neemias Queta here. And this is high level. I mean, that's big time stuff. Face up, little jab step, goes to that left hand, and then he's under control when he gets to the basket. He doesn't have quite that explosion. I mean, I think that's the next step where you get that quick jump right to the rim. But that's a high level move right there.
What does he do to get that, Chris?
You know, I think it's just, it's experience. It's getting a little more strength in that legs. You know, it's, again, this is a guy who's battled a knee injury. And so I think it's just continuing to work in the weight room and allow that body to develop.
Wooster, little runner, and he gets the roll. Highland uses the screen from Williams but misses. You know, VCU started 4 for 4, and they've been 3 for 13 since. In terms of three-point shots, Marco Anthony on the front rim with that one. Tough shot. And again, Keita, even though he doesn't get the block shot, certainly
just alters it. I mean, the length has been an issue, and that's where, you know, Utah State is packing it in. They are content allowing VCU to chuck threes. Nothing towards the basket for VCU. Nothing in the paint.
Held ball. And the possession arrow will stay at this end. When we come back, he did not argue with me. He's very high on his sophomore.
Well, a lot of folks are. He was terrific. And it really changed that game. And again, South Dakota State battled, kept that thing close on the back of their point guard. But once Miles McBride said, okay, enough is enough, when South Dakota State jumped out early in that game, I thought it changed for West Virginia. And you know, look, Taz Sherman, Sean McNeil made shots. You know, that was one of the things we were looking for. But I don't think, look, in order for West Virginia to be the team we hope they are, Derek Culver, Oscar Tshiebwe are going to have to play better than they did tonight. Certainly Tshiebwe. But hey, man, game one, you get a win, you move forward in a tournament like this, that's a good night.
And so West Virginia moves on to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon, and we'll play the winner of our game here between VCU and Utah State. Curry on the screen and roll, and they earn a trip to the free throw line. Nice roll by Brendan Medley Bacon off the terrific feed.
I mean, it's a great pass and a really good roll by Medley Bacon. But how about this play by Keita? I mean, that's a layup, and I thought it was a good block. And he saves 2 points by just following the play and blocking the shot. And that's never a good look. Shorting the free throw from 15 feet. That's tough. There you go.
A little better the second time.
There you go.
He was only 58% a year ago at Coppin State. Wooster gets around the double team. Did a good job to get it up on the rim, and then Keita finished it off. Williams, offensive foul. And Bean's got a big smile on his face after taking that charge.
Well, that's a Justin Bean play.
Well, his father played at Idaho State. Gordon Bean played in the NCAA tournament back in 1987. They lost to UNLV. And apparently father and son have compared their watches, their NCAA tournament watches. Son's is much better. Father's from back in the 80s was, I guess, leather, probably nice, but nowhere near what Justin got. He got a fossil from a couple of years ago. Right on cue.
You said fossil like you were saying Rolex. Just nothing at the rim. Nothing.
Marco Anthony willed his way into the lane and draws the foul.
And this is where offensively Utah State is just dominating in the paint. And Justin Bean makes the charge on, or takes the charge on one end. A nice find here as he follows the play and dunks or layups. A steady diet for Utah State.
And the Utah State lead has stretched to 8, its largest so far of the night. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman back in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Utah State has opened up an 8-point lead. And Chris, we've seen equal parts offense and defense for the Aggies. They've done it well at both ends, shooting 54% from the floor and being effective in the paint, and really defending the heck out of it in the lane at the other end.
Yeah, their length at the basket defensively has really affected VCU. And then offensively, they've broken the press, haven't turned it over, and they are scoring at will around the basket. Bean and Keita are having their way, just dominating points in the paint.
Keita's got 14 points. Bean has 13. Wooster, the freshman in his college debut, has 10. That might be a goaltend after the foul on the shot. Was it on the way down? VCU certainly thinks so.
Yeah, they counted it in live. I thought it was a goaltend. Yeah, that's a good call.
And so Vince Williams Jr. completes the three-point play. Give him 7. Keita blocked and fouled.
I mean, he is feeling himself, catching it at that mid post, turning, facing, taking his time. You can tell he's not quite comfortable with the left hand. You would have loved to have seen him get in there and just rise up and shoot that left-handed hook. He had to come back to the right hand, but he draws the foul. Very impressive, Neemias Keita.
Well, his career high came as a freshman against St. Mary's at the MGM Resorts main event semis in Vegas. Game they won. They beat the Gales 80-63. And as we've talked about last year, because of the knee injury, wasn't what he was hoping for, but he certainly looks like he's going to be an all Mountain West Conference performer once again this year. 0 for 2 from the line. The lead holds at 7. Now at this end, if you're VCU, you really need to get Bones Highland going again. Clark to the corner. Ball knocked out of bounds by Levi Stockard. Aggies. And you know, Chris, coming into this event, Stockard called for the foul. I was under the impression that Marco Anthony was going to be the new point guard. He is, but I am surprised a little bit at how much responsibility they have given to Raleigh Wooster and how well he has handled it so far in terms of bringing the ball up against really good pressure.
I think his instincts for the position are a little more honed, which is crazy to say for a freshman. And he can hit a shot. You know, that's the one thing with Anthony is that's the one fly in his ointment is he cannot hit a perimeter shot, at least consistently. So, you know, Wooster's played well, and he's played like a veteran. I mean, you would never know if you were plopped down here that he is, in fact, a freshman.
Well, he physically does not look like a freshman, and by the way he carries himself with the basketball and out there competing in his first college game, you're right.
You know, they never look like freshmen anymore. You remember you used to walk into a gym and immediately spot the freshmen based on how they looked, or they had this like glossy look in their eyes. Now you walk in, none of them look like freshmen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sculpted, or they're, you know, like you said, he's pretty physically developed the way he's playing. They've played so much basketball, and they all have trainers now, and they work out in the weight room. And
off the turnover, Clark lays it in. Back to a three-point game. Keita missed badly, and here come the Rams with a chance to tie. Williams, size advantage, double team comes, he passes through it and turns it over. Bairstow's fouled in transition. And that'll go against Vince Williams Jr., the junior from Toledo.
what a well-timed double on the other end. And it was Keita who came over. They got the rotation, which made it a tough pass by Williams.
Why was it not too early or too late? What makes it the right time?
You know, I think he just kind of felt it, and he realized that Wooster was being posted by a guy who was going to back him down, and it was a really good instinctual play by Keita, and then the guys on the backside reacted to it. Really good defense by Utah State there.
Bean kicks to Ashworth for three. Got it.
This kid too, he's played well. You know, these guys play so confident, these young guards for Utah State.
Although Ashworth is not as young as you might think, because he did go on an LDS mission, so he's one of the players that Utah State has on its roster that is a little bit older. So he's not your typical 18 or 19-year-old freshman coming in. Douglas carving out some space inside. Bairstow was in a tough spot, and he's bailed out by the foul call.
And Utah State opportunistic with their threes. They have attacked the paint, played inside out. Ashworth steps in and buries it.
The winner between VCU and Utah State gets West Virginia in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon here at the Crossover Classic. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. And I would guess, Chris, that the folks back in Missoula, Montana, watching this game say, yeah, we knew Raleigh could do this. Raleigh Wooster, as we just talked about, not looking like a first-game freshman.
No, he's not. He's wise beyond his years. He's really skilled, has such a good feel. How about that shot? Just the rolling Steve Nash hook. 4 of 7, very efficient on the night. But I think the favorite thing I've learned, can throw a football 65 yards in the air, over the mountain.
He was an all-star dual-threat quarterback at Hellgate High School who received Division I offers to play football, but he, like his father Scott, who played basketball at Weber State, wanted to play basketball, and he let the recruiters know, I want to play hoops.
The best part of yesterday was hearing Craig Smith describe watching Raleigh Wooster throw a football.
Yeah.
I think he started talking at one point about seeing Aaron Rodgers throw a football for the first time and how impressive that was. Something about the arm twitch.
Right, and Coach Smith didn't just tell us the story, he acted it out. It was fantastic. Douglas with the bank shot.
Tough shot.
He's got a couple of buckets lately to help keep the Rams within 4. Anthony just gets it across to Anderson. Miller finds the range from that corner. He's been trying all second half.
Well, and you're this close to forcing a turnover if you're VCU. Nice move there by Brown Jones. And they're burying, they're scoring at the end of this, on the back end of this pressure. They're getting it over, and then they're either getting layups or now they're banging threes.
Highland able to save it. VCU down by 5 with the basketball, winding down in the midpoint of the second half.
And that's the thing, if you're VCU, you're only down 5.
Right.
And you haven't scored it well.
Well, you don't want to leave that man open if you're Utah State, but they got away with it. Bones Highland misses the 3. Offensive foul called against Marco Anthony. Well, on this first day of the college basketball season, the 2K Empire Classic had a classic as 18th ranked Arizona State, led by Bobby Hurley, one of the favorites in the Pac-12 conference, able to stave off Rhode Island. And then the game tonight, the nightcap, Villanova and Boston College. Now, again, that was not the original matchup. Neither of those were the original matchups. But you take the game, you take the opponent you can get, and you play it to the best of your ability.
That Villanova-BC game was tied at the half.
Well, at this point, Boston College leads Villanova by 5 with 12 minutes to go. That's over on ESPN. Highland gets another clean look.
Yeah.
First point since early in this ball game. He's got 18.
And he does have unlimited range. He'll shoot it from anywhere. And shoot it at a high percentage.
He got the nickname Bones as a youngster for being skinny growing up in Delaware. He has a good feel out there. Cada, jab step on Ward, spins back to the baseline. Pretty nice move.
Very nice move.
Just couldn't finish it. And Anderson was called for the foul.
There's a Joel Embiid feel to this. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not Embiid, but there's that type of a feel to his game. And that right there, the face up, the jab, he's patient with it, and then he gets to that hook. And once he gets that hook, he's going to be really, really tough because you can't get it. I mean, at 7 feet tall and with that wingspan, once he gets to that spot where that thing is above his head, forget it.
There are NBA scouts here for this event. Even though we don't have fans in attendance, the scouts were allowed to come, and Keita certainly is one of those players they are scouting. Mikel Brown-Jones, after making those free throws, goes to the bench. He's provided some nice offense here in the second half for VCU. Ball knocked out of bounds. Active hands by Ace Baldwin. Tied at 63. The winner gets 15th ranked West Virginia tomorrow. Marco Anthony, a redshirt junior from San Antonio, 6'5", 225, playing his first game as a Utah State Aggie. Has it knocked away, gets it back, and they call over and back.
Yeah, I thought the ball got knocked away.
As did I. And I, like Coach Smith, am kind of surprised. Let's take a slow down look. It was poked away, he touched it.
Yeah, I mean, if that ball gets knocked away by that's not supposed to be a backcourt.
VCU with a chance to retake the lead. Williams fakes the pass, turns the corner and lays it in.
Very nice play. The deception, the look away, and Williams keeps it. And VCU is up 2.
Anderson trying to back down Williams. Help side defense, though, was waiting for him. Hassan Ward with the block shot.
Not a good shot.
Thought the same thing. Figured you would say it as well.
Not a good shot.
Early in the shot clock.
And a long 2.
Long 2 for a young man playing his first game who only has 2 points tonight. Wooster. Out of bounds. The Aggies will keep it.
Here's that play by Vince Williams Jr. You get a ball reversal. Fakes the handoff, a drive to the basket, no rim protection. VCU up 2.
Bones Highland is a three-pointer away from matching his career high in scoring, while Keita has already posted his 15th career double-double as we feature the 2 leading scorers so far tonight.
Yeah. Highland got off to a quick start. Starting to, you would hope, heat up here at this point in the game. And Keita, you know, the looks that Utah State has gotten here over the last 5 minutes have been good looks. They just haven't hit at as high a percentage as they've been all game. And then VCU, they've had to work a little bit harder in the half court for their looks, but they've started to drop some, especially at the basket and in the paint.
There's another good look. Missed by Bean. Coming out of the timeout, the baseline out of bounds. They got exactly what they were looking for, but VCU up 2 with the basketball now.
And a change of defense out of the timeout for Utah State.
Throw to the rim. Ward throws it down.
And that's that soft spot. They've got Keita in the back of the 1-3-1. But able to get behind Keita for the lob there.
So both coaches coming out of that timeout having a nice setup. Or do you think that play there was not called, he just read it?
They adjusted, and look at this.
Curry with the dunk. Back-to-back slams, and the Rams lead by 6.
And this defense, as we know, historically VCU can explode, and it's defense to offense.
Wow. Curry again, he's quickly into double figures, and the Rams bench comes flying out with the timeout.
Wow. I'll tell you what, It was about 3 minutes ago. I said to you, you know, they're only down 5. They're in this game. It doesn't feel like they are, and this defense has exploded here as VCU goes up 8.
The Rams on a 15-0 run over the last 4+ minutes.
Well, and they needed to find a way to get easy offense. They've struggled all night scoring at the basket and in the paint, and they've gotten it with their defense. It started out of the timeout. Nice adjustment to the 1-3-1 for the lob there, but then turnovers leading to layups and dunks on the other end. This is vintage VCU dribbling right into the trap. Justin Bean, you get the steal and a bucket on the other end. And what a turnaround this has been for VCU.
Keita gives it back to Marco Anthony. Knocked out of bounds by VCU. The Aggies will keep it with 13 on the shot clock. Ashworth returns, and Brock Miller, a redshirt junior from Sandy, Utah, will take a seat.
Another ball handler. You know, you get Ashworth and Wooster in the game together. Anthony, you got 3 ball handlers. And that's got to be finished for Keita. I mean, you're 7 feet tall. Hassan Ward only 6'9". You got to go to dunk that thing, or at the very least get fouled.
Ace Baldwin. 5 to shoot for the freshman from Baltimore. Gonna have to put it up. They beat the buzzer, but missed the shot. 5:40 remaining. Utah State down by 8. Ashworth off the feed from Wooster, no. Knocked out of bounds, VCU basketball. Did you want Keita in the short corner to take that 12-foot shot that he had? No.
No.
He did the right thing.
It's the right decision. 5:29, you're down 8. Every possession now becomes vital. That's not the shot we want. And he knew it. He's a smart player.
Yeah, he turned it down. There's no question. Ward goes back to the bench for VCU. This is Jimmy Clark III out of Covington, Georgia, with the basketball. Pressure handled nicely by VCU.
VCU doing this. Bones Highland on the bench.
Williams, again with the shot clock at 1, just had to chuck it up and it went through. He's a guy who was a 20% three-point shooter a year ago. Looked like a travel by Anthony, no call. Now Utah State just seems to be out of sorts. In they go to Keita. And a foul on the reach-in coming on the double team. It'll go against Jimmy Clark.
This group, and again, as I just said, Bones Highland not in the game, their best player, best scorer, but this group for VCU has had a bounce to its step defensively. And that's what's changed the tone offensively for VCU.
And I hearken back again to something we said earlier in the broadcast from what Coach Rhodes told us multiple times yesterday. He likes the fact that he feels like he's got a roster full of basketball players this year.
Yeah. You know, he also said, we're going to win some games this year that you wouldn't expect, and we're going to lose some games that we shouldn't lose, just because we've got a really young group, a lot of new guys, new faces. It's going to be that kind of a year, but he loves this team. Loves this team.
Replacing 5 seniors from a club that went 18-13 last year. And again, this is a VCU team that was supposed to be in Knoxville, Tennessee right now, playing in the MTE that had been put together by the Volunteers, but it had to be called off because of positive COVID test within the Vols basketball program. So 3 hours after that was called off, Mike Rhodes didn't know what they were going to be doing. And 3 hours later, they get a phone call from the organizers here. And here they are in South Dakota trying to pick up their first win of the season. And as a sport, I mean, our country's been through a lot. The world's been through a lot the last 8 months. But I have been encouraged greatly the last couple of days being here to see that the coaches and the players have all willingly done what has been asked of them. There's been no complaining at all through the protocols that are in place. And everybody just seems to be on the same page of, hey, let's just get it done. Let's do what it takes to play basketball.
I've said from the beginning, the opportunity to play and coach a sport is finite. And you don't ever want to give days away. And I think that's how everybody feels. What do we have to do to play the game of basketball? And look, and it's ESPN too. What do we have to do to bring this to an audience? Yep. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that we're sitting here right now with this going on.
No question. Bean across the timeline. Dump it off Keita. And again, met at the rim. This time, Douglas called for the foul. Or no, it goes against Curry. So we'll have free throws when we come back. Can Utah State bounce back? Down 9 to the Rams. I wish I had been recruited to play Division I college basketball. Not like my partner here, coming off of Long Island, a scoring machine. Two-time, 1,500 points, 1,600 points?
Yeah. Can you believe it? Looking at me?
What were the most shot attempts you took in a single game at Army? Did you push 30?
Look, that's classified. I went to Army. Did I push 30? Are you kidding me? Of course I did. The better question to that is, what was the largest number of misses you had?
Yeah. I did not look up your field goal percentage today.
Don't.
Well, somebody's got to take the shot. Well, VCU had been on an 18-2 run before came about the midpoint of the second half. Highland dumps it off. Layup missed. And the ball back tapped out of bounds over to the Aggies. So where does Utah State need to go here with this basketball in the half court?
Well, you'd love to see Keita get a touch on the block or in that mid post where he's caught it, because they've gotten good looks either from him creating for himself or that ball coming out and then being moved around the perimeter.
Wooster finds Bean all by himself in the corner, and he puts up an air ball.
That's not the shot you want. That's not what he does, no matter how open he is. And there's plenty of time, but you got to start stringing some stops together here.
Williams traveled. You know, we should make mention that last week Utah State had a really big thing for its program. Sam Merrill was the last selection in the NBA draft, final pick of 2020, first Aggie selected since Greg Grant 34 years ago. It's a big deal for a program like this.
Well, and for where he was picked, he got $1.4 million guaranteed money, a 2-year deal, which not a lot of guys get at that point in the draft. So, I mean, he was as good as it gets. What he did, and this is where you feel bad that the tournament was canceled for a program like Utah State. For him to hit that game winner in the Mountain West Championship and have the career that he had and not to be able to cap it with an NCAA tournament, that stinks. But again, the fact that he was drafted, and Craig Smith was telling us yesterday, Milwaukee had their eye on him because they had to trade.
Yeah.
They did not have a pick in that spot. They traded to get Sam Merrill, and Craig Smith telling us they had their eye on him for a couple years.
And Coach Smith said that while they were watching the draft, he actually thought they might have used their earlier second-round pick on him. That's how much the Bucs had liked him and followed him.
Yeah.
So it was not a throwaway by any means. They have plans for him. It's now an 18-3 run as VCU works some clock. Five to shoot.
Wow.
Once again, Vince Williams with the shot clock under 5 buries a late 3.
2 big threes. Wow.
He's got a new career high tonight. 15 points on 6 of 10 shooting for Vince Williams Jr. And another takeaway by the Rams.
Like you said, Doug, this is the second time he's done this. And he looks pretty comfortable. I mean, it's a little bit of an awkward release, but he has buried both of them. Timely shots to get 3 at the end of a clock when you're trying to run clock. There is no bigger dagger.
As I mentioned, he was only a 20% three-point shooter a year ago. He had missed his first 3 three-point shots tonight, and yet he knocks those 2 down like he does it every day. Big shots, and now Highland got the first free throw. He's got 19 points to lead the Rams. VCU picked 9th in the preseason poll in the Atlantic 10 Conference. But as much as anything, that's largely due to the roster turnover. You just don't know what you're going to get. Highland lays it in to match his career high of 21 points. Poked out of bounds. The Aggies will keep with 1:28 to go, down by 13. And Utah State was picked 3rd in the Mountain West Conference behind San Diego State and Boise State. San Diego State playing UCLA right now and giving the Bruins all they can handle out west. That's one of the marquee matchups on this opening night of the college basketball season. Another Aggies turnover, their 18th of the game.
They have just fallen apart. This defense has been outstanding over the last 8 minutes for VCU, and Utah State has just fallen apart.
11 of those 18 turnovers, Chris, have come here in the second half. And now for tonight's play of the game, brought to you by Complete Sports Management. We'll put an S in there. It's the plays of the game.
And it should be, because this has been collective. And it's been vintage, quintessential VCU. Defense turning into offense and igniting this run for VCU. It's an interesting matchup, this VCU West Virginia game. Interesting.
Yep.
You know, a contrast in styles. It's going to be tough for West Virginia. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to play those 2 bigs together against this lineup. Two teams, 2 programs that pride themselves on defense. West Virginia not pressing as much. Not the press Virginia that they were a couple years back.
And that is scheduled for a 2:30 Eastern tip tomorrow. The first semifinal is scheduled between Memphis and Western Kentucky for noon Eastern, 11 Central, where we are here locally in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Utah State will next play South Dakota State, which gave West Virginia a game earlier tonight. But it's been all VCU the last 10 minutes. It has been quite a show by the Rams. Wooster goes down. And the bucket by Szymon Zapala, freshman from Poland, his first 2 points as an Aggie. Timeout VCU. And now for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers.
Yeah, I mean, he got off to a hot start, did Bones Highland. And I thought the three got a little bit intoxicating, but then he caught fire down the stretch of this second half. He's got unlimited range and has really, you know, he's going to be their go-to scorer throughout the year. What a talent.
And so he has matched the 21 points he put on St. Bonaventure last January as a career high. Young man out of St. George's Tech. He suffered a torn patellar tendon in his right knee while escaping a house fire that took the lives of his grandmother Faye and his baby cousin Maurice. Bones has dedicated every single game to their memories, and you know he's got them on his mind and in his heart as he takes a seat after a job well done here tonight. Foul given by Stephen Ashworth.
You know what, and you got to feel good for VCU. I mean, this was a quick, you've documented it throughout. No, really, I mean, to, you know, basically say to the pilot, you thought you were flying to Tennessee, hey, we're going to fly, but by the way, we're going to South Dakota.
Yep.
To play in a different kind of a tournament. You know, that's pretty good stuff. And to come out here with a win in game one, it's impressive.
And now the reward will be a very short turnaround to face the 15th ranked team in the country. But they wouldn't complain, wouldn't want to have it any other way. Midway through the second half, it looked like the Aggies might win this game, but my goodness, the VCU Rams just blitzed Utah State to win the opener of their season and advance to the semifinals of the Crossover Classic. 85-69, your final score.
It was impressive, Doug Sherman. Impressive by VCU. It didn't have that feel. And then all of a sudden, that defense took over. What a win.
And Bones leads the way in a new career high for Vince Williams Jr. with 15 points. 85-69, your final score. VCU advances to the semifinals. So long from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.